Hey everybody, I'm David.
And I'm Eddie.
And we are full-time gays.
And we're here at Circle JJ Ranch in Scio, Ohio.
Join us as we give you a review and a bit of a tour of this magical hilltop campground. Hey everybody again, and welcome from Circle JJ Ranch here in Scio, Ohio. Not Scio, not Scio, Scio. Where is Scio, Ohio?
In Ohio.
In eastern Ohio, in the hills. It feels like Kentucky or even West Virginia. This is a campground that has been around for, what, 17 years? Almost.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. It is at the very top of a hill.
Yes. Not a mountain.
No, no, no.
So it's not crazy,
no,
but
not
it is
crazy.
the very top of a hill.
Yeah. And we had the opportunity to spend a weekend here. It was Thursday through Sunday. This is the 10th stop of our 6,500 mile, 5-month RV tour.
75 states later.
Yeah, it's the end of August. It's a week before Labor Day. By the time you see this, it'll probably be Thanksgiving. Yes, we know we've been slow, we've been busy. We are going as fast as we can. If you haven't joined or watched any of our videos before, we rate gay campgrounds really in 4 areas. We look at
Big rig friendliness. How easy is it to get to the park, and then how easy is it to navigate within the park?
And then we also look at the grounds and facilities. So what kinds of amenities does the campground have, from electricity to sewer to social structure, infrastructure, if you will. And then we look at
the vibe, which is totally subjective, we know that, but it's what our experience was while we were here for this particular weekend.
Exactly. And then finally we wrap things up with the internet, which, while not important for everybody, just like big rig friendliness, for those that are like us with a big rig that work full time, internet is essential. So we talk about how Verizon and AT&T, and then any campground Wi-Fi that it exists.
You got it. So big rig friendliness.
It's not. But we knew that coming in. We knew this was a rural campground in eastern Ohio. We knew that it was in the hills. And getting to the campground, it wasn't horrible by any stretch. We got off of we came from the north, we came from the woods. And so we went around Youngstown, down, it was like an interstate, but it wasn't an interstate. And then we took 38 miles on like 2-lane kind of state or US highways. They were well-maintained roads. They had a shoulder. We went through like 3 or 4 towns.
Maintained trees.
Yeah, no, lots of trucks. Lots of big trucks took these routes. No big deal. We had to go really, really slow. We had a lot of friends that told us that we were, you know, number 1, even though we have a bumper sticker that says we wish we were going faster too. But we didn't know the roads. We didn't know where there were dips and turns and curves and ascents and descents, and so we took it nice and slow. It took a long time. It wasn't hard. It wasn't easy. So for me, kind of middle of the road, I'm gonna say like 4 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it wasn't that bad. I mean, again, paved roads. Yes, it was curvy. It was hilly. Not a big deal. Well maintained. Again, trees were cut. So 6 for me. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when you get to the campground, there's like a 1.5 miles of one more road. Again, fine. A very steep descent, a fairly steep ascent, and the campground is like literally at the very top of the hill. And so the cool thing about that is that you know exactly where the campground entrance is going to be. The bad part about that, though, is that you can't really see the traffic coming up the other side. And we had to make a right-hand turn, which means we needed to swing out a little bit, and that was pretty tough. It wasn't impossible. We were fine.
Just a little scary because you couldn't see what was coming.
And that's where my 4. So 5 total for getting to the campground. Within the campground is a little bit of a different story. You want to start?
So for those who watch our videos, you know that we have a 43.5-foot long fifth wheel. In this park, that is a massive challenge. Any rig that would be over, I would say, 30 feet is going to be a challenge in this park.
And it's not designed for rigs our size, and we knew that. So this is not like, hey, this campground is bad. It's not. It's great.
And to put in perspective, I mean, they were actually originally giving us 2 sites to park on when we first reserved.
We're right back here. It's like a kind of a parallel park job. So we get into the campground, and we knew it was going to be tough, and I knew that there was like some elevation changes because of what I had seen on like YouTube and the campground's website. There was an opportunity to do a U-turn at the top of this hill right behind us, but it's very narrow. And it was a Thursday, and so we started doing that, and we would have made it, but for 2 things. Number 1, There was a fire pit on the front of this site that, thank goodness, was empty because we ended up moving the fire pit and still using most of the site. But on the back side of this curve, coming back this way, there's a big kind of grade right next to the road. And so the campground, or the camper coming on the inner part of that corner would have been on that grade, and it would have caused issues. So we couldn't have continued the turn. Yep. We tried backing it up and repositioning the camper to help us shallow that turn to go down that road. What we eventually ended up doing is kind of going down what becomes like the outer loop of the campground for a little while, like the length of the truck.
Yep.
And then used that empty campsite, thank goodness it was empty,
right,
and basically backed up toward the pool and came back down the road that we went up. So we essentially did a U-ey at the top of this hill. It was fine. I mean, we made it. We didn't have any damage, nothing like that.
Yeah. I think that we're 65 feet total length with truck and trailer.
Yeah.
And I think we may have had 67 feet to work with.
Yeah, it was tough. It took us like 45 minutes. And then when we got back down here, we had to kind of like back it up onto the site. And there's kind of elevation grades there that would have potentially caused some twisting action with the truck and trailer. We got on the site. We're here. Would I do it again? Probably not. Not unless they reconfigured a little bit of the road to be big rig friendly. There are big rigs here. It can be done. It's not impossible, but it's not easy. And so for that, it's a 1, meaning you can do it. It is technically possible. If there was a camper on that site, though, up there, I don't know what we would have done, short of just backing right back out and trying to figure out something else. And there were a couple other options, but a 1, really, really tough to do in a rig our size.
Yes.
You can do it. We did it. But it takes patience and it takes nerves of steel. So
very true.
Yeah, 1 for me.
So what you had said about big rigs already being in here, the caveat to that is they are seasonals. So they've come in here and they probably don't leave except for once a year.
Right.
So yes, can you do it? Sure. Would I want to do it every weekend? No.
So what's your score?
My score is going to be a 1 as well.
All right. So 5 out of 10 for getting 2, 1 out of 10 for within. So that's 3 out of 10 for big rig friendliness.
Yep.
But again, that's if you have a big rig. That's not a knock on the campground. It's for you to be aware, if you have a big rig, that this is going to be a challenging campground to maneuver in.
Yep.
So with that said, let's talk about the grounds and facilities.
So yeah, grounds and facilities. There's actually, I was actually surprised. There was more things here than I originally thought.
Yeah.
There's a nice heated pool, a hot tub. They have an adult swing set.
Yep.
There is a massive rec center. They played music Friday nights and Saturdays. It was great. The sites here, the perms and seasonal sites, a lot of them are like on hillside and they're really nicely decorated. The transient sites are basically this row right here between the 2 main roads and the top of the park.
There's a couple others, but those are the main ones, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Now, again, with the kind of going along with the big rig friendliness thing, these sites were not made for big blanch. They were made for rigs that are 30-ish feet, maybe smaller.
Right.
So they don't have 50 amp. You're only going to have 30 amp, which it was extremely hot while we were here, and that 30 amp was just not enough for
Yeah, it was close to 90, and there's not a lot of shade on this site. It was toasty.
Yep.
It got up to about 84, 85 in the camper.
Yeah.
But it kept the cat calm.
Yeah. There's also no sewer. There is a dump station, and I do know there is a sewer company that comes out once a week to actually pump all the rigs out. So.
Yep. And yeah, it's hot. We're roasting,
as you can tell,
with our new Circle JJ shirts. And thank you very much for these shirts, by the way. We love to wear the shirts at the campground when we make a video. If they ever, whenever they're offered to us, we happily accept. The grounds are beautiful here, as you were saying. There's that whole social center, and there's like that gazebo thing. They call it Pee-wee's Playhouse. There's I mean, just a lot of infrastructure here for a park this size, and it's actually a lot bigger than we thought. It's actually 40 acres. I keep saying.
I think it was 41.
41 acres. Yeah. There are 40 or 50 perms here, I think.
Sounds correct.
And several transient sites like what we're staying on.
There's a few different cabins.
Yep, there's some cabins for rent. There are
great tenting area.
Yep. There's great tenting area. And they have propane that you can buy here on site. They do have the dump station, as Eddie already said. It's well manicured, it's well kept up. There's no sewer, I think you also said that.
Yep.
So it's 30 amp and no sewer. So that's that's not ideal. But that's really the only thing I could critique the place on in terms of grounds and facilities. The manager here, is it Dan?
Dan.
He does an amazing job.
Yeah, super nice guy.
Super nice guy, cares about this place, and it shows. There's an office, there's Are there bathhouses? Yeah, there's a bathhouse down there by the rec area, and it's well maintained. Yeah, everything here is really good. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 6, not quite a 7. It would be nice to have those amenities at our transient sites, the 50 amp, the sewer, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The other thing I also wanted to mention is the water was a little bit sulfury.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So, yeah, the amenities were kind of meh for the site. But the things to do, the pool, hot tub, that was all great.
Yeah. So your score was 6?
Yes.
So for grounds and facilities, that is 6.5.
There you go.
All right. The vibe was really surprising in a good way. We really enjoyed it. The people here, it's that sort of cheersy vibe that if you watch our videos, you kind of know we like. But it's not the only thing we like. But everybody was super nice. People offered us, invited us over to breakfast, to dinner. We just had ribs with the 2 chefs. It was delicious.
To go out to dinner.
We went out to dinner last night. With like 6 other people. Yep. So there are 8 of us in rural Eastern Ohio. It's not exactly liberal friendly, gay friendly, but actually it was. Yeah. People were super nice. And last night at the rec area, we had a wonderful time getting to know everybody. Lots of laughter.
Marvin, who is 82 years old.
Yes, 82.
So sweet.
Yes, he lost his husband of 50 years, 10 years ago, and he doesn't look but like 60. Anyway, we met so many nice people, people that we will stay in touch with for years to come. The vibe was amazing to me. There's pride and ownership in their sites. Yep. There are lots of the covered, like the metal sort of covers for the RVs, which probably helps with the sun and the 30 amp thing too for the bigger campers. And there's decks, big decks, small decks. There are lots of different ways to go in golf carts between.
Go back to the decks?
We just did. But no, this is a beautiful, wonderful campground culture. One of the better ones that we've seen. And we say that about a lot of places, but it was very organic. And we felt right at home right away. People were friendly, engaging, inviting. The vibe is an easy 9. This is a gem of a vibe here.
Easy 9.
They don't have that kind of store though.
I'm also gonna give it a very easy 9. Yeah, you really, really have to try hard to leave here with not making a new crew of friends.
Yeah. So 9 out of 10 for the vibe.
Yep.
Which brings us to the internet. And so for the internet, it's interesting. So Verizon is the only.
Odd.
It was very odd. Verizon's the best service provider here. We didn't test AT&T because of everybody telling us that. And on our phones, we actually have 5G. This is somewhat similar to Boomerang for me. 5G, very fast. Our 4G LTE hotspot had a strong signal. When I did a speed test, it was like 28 megabits per second. But here's the weird thing. The latency, for some reason, was like Viasat.
Yeah,
it was like
it.
it was like 400 or 500 milliseconds. Yeah, it was like a really, really long lag. And a consequence of that is that the next day, like the one day we had to work here, Microsoft Teams does not apparently like low or like high latency. I couldn't get messages, which is bizarre because I could download files like that. Yeah. But it was odd. There is a Wi-Fi network here. The manager gave us the password for it last night. In our camper, like inside, I could see it, but I couldn't connect to it. Like if I did, it would have 1 bar. So I can't speak to the speed of that, nor can I speak to how widespread it is because we're pretty close to the office. And there's not many other sites that are. So that might be something unique to our site. For me, the internet is like a 5. It worked. I could work.
Yeah. But again, this week I wasn't working, so I didn't need it. But everything I used the internet for was totally fine. So
Q Avenue Q. What's the internet for? The internet is for.
No. We can't. We'll be demonetized.
We need that $2 a day. Right. By the way, please subscribe. All right, so I gave it a 5.
Yes, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6 because I didn't really need it. So.
Okay, yeah. If you're just doing it casual, it's gonna be fine. If you have Verizon, if you need it for work, be mindful that if you are doing a lot of Teams and stuff, that it might not be great. So we had a 3 out of 10 for Rig Friendliness. Yep. We had a 6.5 for grounds and facilities, and we had a 9 for the vibe, and we had a
5.5.
Oh, you gave it 6. Yes. Yeah, 5.5, thank you, for the internet. So a medium scoring campground, but that's because of the things that we specifically need.
Right.
If you're not that person that needs the big rig, has a big rig, or that needs that internet all week, look at the middle two, the grounds and facilities and the vibe. And if you don't have a big rig like us, 30 amps probably fine. And so it comes down to the vibe, which we can attest is wonderful.
Yes, exactly.
Well, let's talk about the local area first. Yeah.
So local area, we were only here for 3 days. We didn't really go out and explore too terribly much. But what we did see is a lot of kind of what you would typically see blue collar, kind of rundown small towns. You go into these cute little towns, but they're all empty businesses.
Well, the smaller ones, yeah. We went to New Philadelphia, which has all the regular stuff that was 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
But Scio
looked pretty rough.
Yeah, Scio was pretty rough. Catas, we went to dinner last night.
Cute.
Very cute.
Very cute little town.
Yep.
But yeah, you're not gonna find a big Walmarts that are nearby.
In New Philadelphia.
It's half an hour away. I did see a couple of Dollar Generals. I gotta be careful how I say that now. So if you want
the big stuff, it's a half hour away.
Yep.
If you want little stuff, go ahead, continue.
No, please, go on. What's a half hour away?
The big stuff.
Okay, good. That's all you need to know.
The big decks. The decks. So yeah, there's a lot to do. There's some really cute restaurants.
Yep.
And so anybody that comes to the campground that's like a perm here, a seasonal here, will tell you where to go. The places that we went, we really enjoyed. It's beautiful country. It's this gorgeous country area back here.
Super hilly and just serene. Amish area.
Yeah, all the reasons that make it not big rig friendly make it gorgeous.
Yes.
So bottom line, would you come back here?
Here's the thing. If we didn't have her, I would.
Yeah, same. I would love to come back here because it's a very welcoming place. I don't think I would come back here again with a rig this size unless they did something with the roads to, if they made this the big rig site, kind of like Stag Run in Indiana does. They have that one site, but if you can get that one site, it's not that bad. If they could figure something out to make it not that challenging here, then yeah, in a heartbeat I'd come back here because I love this place and I love the people that I met.
Yeah.
That said, not with big plans.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Well, that said, thank you everybody for watching our video. I'm David.
And I'm Eddie.
And we are
In It Together.